course, Department of Regional Planning here. And, well, like I said, go ahead and get Termo first. Okay. And then
we also have Dusty from Cowboy's office as well. And then, so we will have a presentation, we'll take questions, and then we'll have you guys part of the Q&A if there's any time, or if not, we'll just add to the deck.
Do we have to do a speaker card to ask them questions?
Yes.
okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ralph Combs with the Termo Company. Those of you that don't know me, I am the project lead for Termo's North Aliso Canyon project. I've been with Termo for about 10 years. Prior to that, I did some environmental conservation and activism work for about 10 years in Montana. Termo is a small oil and gas exploration company based in Long Beach, founded in 1933. We've operated in the hills up here for 26 years, and we are proposing a small expansion to our existing operations. So we currently have 18 wells, active wells up there, and as I said, we've been there for about 26 years. You cannot see our current facilities from down here, or our current operations. The future operations that are proposed up there is an expansion with 3 pads and up to 12 wells, so that'd be 4 wells per pad. Each pad is about an acre for about 5.3 acres total disturbance. And the, let's see, all 3 pads are on the other side of the ridge. Pipeline would connect to our existing facility. Existing roads would be used, so no new roads, no new grading, except for the pads themselves. No hydraulic fracturing. I think there's been a question about that. There is no hydraulic fracturing proposed for this project on this plan and as part of the project. We recently started, agreed to go into the E.I.R. process. And so after consultation with stakeholders, with Councilman Englander, with Supervisor Antonovich's office, with the Department of Regional Planning, with Port Ranch Neighborhood Council, with your input, we decided to go ahead and skip the initial study process and go into an E.I.R. Really focused on the transparency associated with an E.I.R. So we announced that about a month ago, and then Paula invited myself and DRP to come and speak briefly on the E.I.R. process and answer some questions. So, and I don't want to speak too much about the E.I.R. process. Iris with Department of Regional Planning will do so, you know, there are some flyers over there and fact sheets, also copies of the notice of preparation and the scoping document, if anybody wants. If you don't have a computer or you didn't want to download the document from Department of Regional Planning's website, there are copies over here. Also, you can get added to our mailing list by sending an email to info, I-N-F-O, at northalisoproject.com. Again, that's info at northalisoproject.com. We will add you to our mailing list. If you have any questions, you can address them to that email address. We'll answer those either on the project website, which is northalisoproject.com. Ton of good information on there. The most important date, which also DRP will reemphasize, is May 20th is the scoping hearing in this room from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. This is where the public tells the E.I.R. consultant what they'd like to see studied with the E.I.R. That's a pretty accurate description. We'll be sending out additional emails to the community. We're going to do a mailer to the entire Porter Ranch next week, notifying them of the scoping meeting, and then just kind of continuing on with the process that way. So we're trying to push a bunch of information out there, and there's a bunch of info on the website. I'm available anytime.
Okay, and this may be a...
Let her go first, I have no problem.
No, go ahead.
You're saying there's no fracking. E.I.R. is going to be with that in mind. Can you change your mind? Could you change your mind without another E.I.R. or another impact report? Let's say, well, boy, this well's almost going to be good, and we want to frack it. What would be involved in changing your mind about no fracking from a regulatory perspective?
We would have to go get the name.
Let me introduce myself. My name is E.I.R. and I'm from LA County Department of Regional Planning. I am the project planner for this Termo project. And regarding your question, if they decided to come back, if they come to us and say, you know, we change our minds, we want to frack now, then we would have them, you know, restart the process. You know, we want to make sure that the environmental impact report, you know, analyzes the hydraulic fracturing also. But right now, they do not propose hydraulic fracturing, so, you know, we will not be analyzing that in the E.I.R.
Okay. But if they change their mind, they got to come back.
Yeah, they got to come back.
Okay.
Well, then, you know, I mean, the state is doing the E.I.R. right now.
Yes.
What? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
We need to hear these people.
Yeah.
The state is doing a E.I.R. on hydraulic fracturing right now.
I'm sorry, I don't understand that. The state's doing one on fracking in general or for Termo?
No, in general. There's, as part of Senator Pavley's Senate Bill 4, it's requiring an E.I.R. And a lot of good information on that, Susan, on DARPA's website.
Okay. Okay, and I just have a couple questions if that's okay. So you said there would be no fracking, so I guess you need to define fracking. Will there be well stimulation, gasification, completion drilling?
Well, you always complete a well. I mean, if it's a good well, you complete it.
Right. Does
but
that take
I-
water?
I'm sorry?
Does that take water where you force the water down in?
There is water involved in drilling.
Oh, okay. And,
Yeah,
and
you
where are you
use-
going to get that water?
From the local sources up there.
Local sources,
I-
like their DWP?
Well, you know, I don't want to get too ahead of the E.I.R.
Oh, okay.
because
Okay,
that
well,
will
these are
be
the questions
touched on
I'll
in
ask.
the E.I.R.
Okay.
And, but we have water available to us up there.
And also,
Local water or water from the municipal water?
I'm sorry?
When you say we have water, are you talking
Via the gas
municipal
company.
water?
Via the gas company.
Right, but I mean, are they getting their water from the ground or from municipal sources?
No, I don't know where they're getting it. We
You don't
purchase it from them.
Okay, we'll ask those questions during the E.I.R. I'm sorry, Iris, you were going to say
oh,
something?
I just wanted to say that during the E.I.R. process, we will make sure that they have a viable source of water.
Mhm.
And so that will all be included in the E.I.R.
Right, and as far as if they're using the water for that, that means someone else isn't getting that water. You know what I'm saying? What
Yeah.
is the alternative use for that water? Okay,
In fact, there's part of the project description where we're proposing to get about a third of the water necessary from the recycled water district.
oh, okay.
And,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
so,
Okay.
it's exciting about it.
And then my other question, and I need some clarification because the process wasn't sort of as transparent as I guess we'd hoped. So Iris, my understanding was there was this period of time that passed and the county was going to come up with a recommendation. It was going to be either requiring a negative declaration, a mitigating negative declaration, or an environmental impact report. And my assumption was that we would get something from the county that said the county has determined
Yeah.
we need this, that. So what happened to that process?
So that is our regular process where we, you know, when a project comes in and we know that it's not categorically exempt by CEQA, then we would do an initial study and we'll, you know, analyze all these different sections and basically we come up with a determination whether it's a negative declaration, a mitigated neg deck, or will it trigger an E.I.R. But for this case,
Okay, so the county prepares the E.I.R.
Yes, the county is the lead agency.
Okay.
We prepare it, we have full authority, we work with the consultants, and so, it's our document. It's not the applicant's document, it's our document.
So the applicant can decide to do an E.I.R., but they don't have the authority to decide not to do an E.I.R. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so the county is the determining agency.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And what would you choose? I think we had this conversation, you had that nice open house at Porter Valley Country Club, and we had a conversation, I had brought up the idea, I said, well, hey, why don't you just do an E.I.R.? There's 1,000 people that signed a petition, that really want an E.I.R. And the response I got, not specifically from you, Ralph, but from one of your coworkers, that would be too expensive, and let the county make that decision. So what sort of happened in between that?
Well, it is an extremely expensive process.
Right.
At that time, we were still, we were still going through the public process. That was in September. We had multiple meetings with the county, more feedback from stakeholders, from Councilman Englander, from Supervisor Antonovich, from Corporation Council, and the community. And, weighing all things considered, I pushed for us to do the E.I.R.
And it's a good thing.
I
we also,
agree.
we
No
also
complaint
got,
from me, this is great.
yeah, I got a lot of emails from everyone, demanding an E.I.R. And so when we made that determination, we also took into consideration the community's concerns.
Oh, great.
And, also we want this process to be transparent. There's a lot of eyes on this project, so we want to make sure that everything is out there for you guys to also read and, make your analysis.
Okay.
Can I make a little comment to that?
Uh-huh.
Councilman Englander in the city council requested an E.I.R.
Right.
And we wrote a community impact statement supporting that. So,
Oh, yes.
there has been something in the social media where we're anti-environment or something, and that's far from the truth. So we asked the E.I.R. too.
Okay.
Are you good? We ready to move on, Kelly?
Okay, thank you.
Kelly?
Kelly's going to make no comment tonight.
Next question, Mark?
Yeah. Hey, first of all, thank you for doing the E.I.R. Thank you for doing it. In your handouts, I didn't see a map as to the route that the trucks will be taking, and you're going to be, I understand you're going to be using existing roads and everything else. There's going to be a lot of traffic on those, right? So you're doing this here.
Well, right now we don't know for sure how much traffic it'll generate, but that's what the E.I.R. is for. In the E.I.R. we will definitely show a truck route.
Oh, great.
Showing
And the
each-
weight of the trucks and the...
Yes.
Okay, great.
And also I would suggest that you put that in writing and send it over to me so that, we make sure that your concerns are heard and that, we will look at that when we are, preparing the E.I.R.
Okay, terrific.
And the deadline for that is?
The deadline is May 27th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
But that's not necessarily written in stone, right? The deadline? The deadline.
It's in the notice of preparation.
Right, but there could be a request for extension, from what I understand.
You could submit a
Yeah, okay,
request.
cool.
Oh,
And just one other question I have, and this isn't an E.I.R. kind of thing, but it was in the handout. It said this would reduce a need for foreign oil. Is that to say that this will only be used domestically, whatever's pumped from, or whatever's extracted here?
Our oil goes from here to Santa Paula and directly to the refinery.
I'm sorry,
And
directly to where?
Our oil goes from here to via trucks to an offloading into a pipeline to the refinery.
Okay, great. And it's only used domestically. It will
Well,
not be
I
sold
cannot control
overseas.
the end use of the
Right,
product or the
so-
oil, but I would guess
understand how you can make a claim like that, quite frankly. Is there some way you can make a claim like that?
Yeah, I think absolutely.
Okay, so
I feel very strongly that we can make that assertion, and the numbers speak for themselves. As the increase in production, not only in California but in the United States, we've seen a decrease in imported oil from overseas, which means less ships coming into the port, less air pollution.
Overall,
but without question, the numbers speak for themselves.
right, but this specific project, what you're saying is you really can't guarantee that whatever's extracted from Aliso Canyon would be used domestically.
I can't put 100%, but I would certainly bet my, bet the farm.
Okay, great. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Kyoko?
I have like 3 questions. I'm just gonna read it. The first question is back in April last year, I questioned the concern about the smell in our neighborhood and the sign I saw at the gas company gate saying this oil and gas field creates some substance and chemicals listed at under top 65, which cause cancer. And I wanted to know what that is and what's the health impact living close by. Mr. Lamscombs replied to me and saying all health assessment from the North Aliso Canyon project will be addressed in an E.I.R. process. And the community will be informed. But I also I have an email from IDIS that health impact assessment will not be analyzed in the E.I.R. So could you explain this conflict information and which point we will get health impact assessment report and who is doing this?
Well, certainly in April of last year, when you brought your concerns about the odors at the meeting, I took them very seriously. I told you via email how to address some of those either with the gas company or AQMD. If I said E.I.R. health assessment at that time, I don't believe that I would have brought up an E.I.R. because at that time we had just started the process with the county, and nor a health assessment. And then in regards to the Prop 65 warning, you'll see those at 7-Eleven. You'll see those at Home Depot and various other places, and many places around the community.
And also, the health risk assessment, that is not required by CEQA, so we will not be doing it. If you want more information on how to get the assessment done, you should talk to Department of Public Health, the epidemiology section. They are the ones who would actually conduct such assessment.
So we
Is
can
that a county office?
Yeah, that's a county office.
So we have to request to them to have
Yes.
that health assessment
Yes.
report for this project.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another thing is that I read the project objectives in notice of preparation, which is item number 2.4, page 6, and project the objectives are also economical items. And so are you guys doing the cost-benefit analysis? I like to see a demonstration of how the project will, I kind of want to get a demonstration of the objectives
Okay.
in the report.
Well, first of all, we won't be doing a cost-benefit analysis. Again, that's not required by CEQA. But these project objectives, they are the reasons why Termo is pursuing this project. And so those are their individual project objectives, not necessarily the county's.
Sure.
But it's in the E.I.R. to them to say that help you guys to decide.
Yeah.
From the objectives talking about nothing to do with the E.I.R.
Yeah, the E.I.R. doesn't discuss anything that has to do with economics. There are distinct sections within the E.I.R. that has to do
actually have a consultant already for the E.I.R.
Yes, we do.
Can we get a list of it, or
Excuse me?
can we get that list, or
We
know who
already
that people
chosen
are?
a consultant for the E.I.R.
Are you allowed to say who they are?
Oh, yeah, they're marine research specialists.
Marine research specialists? Okay.
Yes. And they are the ones who did the E.I.R. for Baldwin Mills as well. So they are very well versed in oil drilling.
Questions, and then we'll go to the board for their questions they have.
Right, so she just asked about my name is Matt Kuko. She just asked about the health impact assessment that you won't be doing. So inside the E.I.R., probably a question, yeah, for the county, you examine impact to the plants, species, and the animals, but not for the humans involved? Is that correct?
Well, I mean, it's going to talk about the environmental impacts. It'll be, as far as the humans go, that's going to be all discussed as part of the, the environmental impact report. We covered most of those topics. I'm not quite sure what the human relation you're asking.
Well, the health, we study how it affects the animals and plants around the area and adjacent areas, but if there's no health study, whatever you want to call it, to the humans living around the area, I mean, you're saying that that's the case?
Or is
Animal,
not quite
yes,
sure where you're getting at with the health study with the humans. But like, for example, there'd be an air quality section in the environmental impact report that would look at the levels of, things that are given off during, that are given off in the air, and their health standards of, air quality management district, South Coast Air Quality Management District in this particular area. But all of this is a disclosure document for what the environmental impacts are on the environment, for exactly for what the project is being proposed.
Okay. Thank you. Ralph, Mr. Combs, you said in many of your brochures and releases that there will be no fracking, and it's in writing. You say it's in writing. Where is that in writing right now? Is that somewhere?
It's in the.
It's in the scoping document?
Yes.
In the scoping document.
The scoping document?
I made sure that was added to the project
The
description.
document that you brought tonight?
Yes.
So it does say there'd be no hydraulic fracturing, but we all know, well, we all should know by now that there's many other processes by many other names that are as dangerous, as polluting, as maybe profitable and effective, and they're not called hydraulic fracturing, but they use a lot of the same dangerous chemicals. So the only one that's excluded is the hydraulic fracturing, and everything else is in.
Anything that falls under hydraulic fracturing will not be allowed. And also, we send the scoping document, we send NOP, and we will also send the draft E.I.R. to DOGGR for their review, for their comments. If they want us to analyze additional things, we will definitely do that. But they are the subject matter experts when it comes to oil drilling, and they're the ones who issues the permits. So we will defer to them when it comes to this matter.
So in
Can
the
I ask you a question? This isn't, we're not asking that question. I'm asking questions. Okay.
you asked me later. What, can I finish? So in the scoping document, it said what you're not looking at, there'll be no impact to schools or public protection. However, with increased industrial activity, drilling, welding, trucks driving up and down, hazardous materials up and down those hills, in and out, up and down Tampa, more trucks, more activity. The then current resources in 2008 for the Cessna fire could not contain the Cessna fire. And now you're going to add more and more of this type of activity. And you say in your notice, your scoping document that we have here, that it will have, their increased activity will have no impact on public protection. Can you explain that?
Maybe this is for the scoping meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think
brochure they have tonight and on their website, there's a timeline. At the very end of the timeline, it gets to where it says the end result will be certify E.I.R. and approve the project. It seems to say that the only outcome here is this project's already approved. Is that correct?
That's the decision-making process. The environmental documentation is a tool to help decision makers make the decision on the process.
Okay.
Decision makers on this one will be the regional planning
So-
commission, and that's what it's for.
So the decision has not been made.
The decision has not been made.
Okay, then how do you explain that the only possible outcome at the end of your timeline is it's approved? Mr. Combs.
That is how CEQA writes the timeline. I mean, we took that timeline straight from CEQA documents, from whether it be the state clearinghouse or somewhere, and that's kind of how they go through that.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you so much. Board members, questions?
We had, at our last month's meeting, we had the county chief, I believe, talking about the fire rangers and his responses. And it was brought out, Wilmington,
Could you speak up, please? Can't hear you back here.
Microphone?
sorry,
Or grab the mic.
Just grab the mic. Thank you.
Okay, last month when we had the discussion about the fires and everything, it was brought up that Wilmington has a fire truck on site 24 hours. Well, I was fortunate enough this last weekend to do the hike in the Santa Susana Mountains with NASA and Boeing. And I was very surprised. They also have a fire truck. They have a whole fire station on their property in case a fire comes. I know you have a small part, and I know SoCal Gas has most of it. What would really, I believe, be very beneficial is if you guys got together and said, we need a fire truck. You're going to be able to respond to a fire a lot faster than 28 or 8 or any other station. And they also have people, workers that are trained and man it. They also do their regular work, but just like your company probably has like CERT volunteers, first aid volunteers, you need fire volunteers for suppression. Because if you get to it immediately, you're going to be a lot more successful. Have you thought of that?
Well, our supervisor up there is actually on Ventura Search and Rescue, so he has a great deal of training. We do have a fire hydrant up there with a water pump. We have a very, very large tank. I believe it's a 1,000+ barrel tank of water up there, if not more. We work cooperatively with the gas company. County fire is up there very often, inspecting and making sure those roads are clear. And so, but a question about a facility, a dedicated facility, I think, or a truck, I think would really be better directed. And don't tell them that I told you this, but better directed to Sempra, quite honest. And we would continue to work with them on that and participate. Sempra, the gas company, SoCal Gas.
I'd love to see that, but I think the idea of having a tank is very good, and the hose will only go so far.
Well,
So the truck will go a lot further.
sure.
than one
But
truck.
for example, Sue, and this is described early in the document submitted to the county, we have a whole fire plan associated with each activity. And I mean, the county was very serious about this and took that very seriously. And we worked, with the proposed contractors and everything to come up with what we would.
I think this came out of the CTAC.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, the CTAC was also very, very serious about it. And I mean, down to the point where they had to clearly identify which, brush clearing would occur.
Okay, Becky, question?
This is for Iris or for Ralph, whoever knows how to answer. When Matt referred to the hydraulic fracturing and was saying that it goes under different names, you know what different names that it would go under?
I only know hydraulic fracturing as hydraulic fracturing.
Do you know any other?
But again,
I do.
hydraulic fracturing is not proposed. And so
I have a list.
I only know hydraulic fracturing as hydraulic fracturing.
We have a list over
Excuse me,
here.
I have a list. There's, it's also called well stimulation, acidification. It's also called well stimulation, acidification, completion drilling. And also Termo has a well up there on the Frac Tracker website that I believe says it's acidification, correct?
We hydraulically fractured 2 wells up there in the past, not successfully at all.
Right, but I
Very
mean you
small,
did.
and so that's, you know,
But it wasn't called fracking, it was called acidification, correct? Am I using the wrong term?
I believe you mean acidization.
Oh, acidization, okay.
You
Is
know,
that another term for fracking?
No.
So okay, so but that is a process where you force water and chemicals down into the well, correct?
You really need to go to Dogger for those type of answers. I feel very strongly that, you know, the answers that are provided by the engineers at Dogger and on Dogger's website are, you know, quite
Right.
thorough.
But I guess this gets back to our question about, you know, our concern of, you know, fracking. I mean, I understand the term fracking, but when we get into some of these other terms.
Yeah, unfortunately, the word fracking has been, you know, manipulated to mean, for some people it means drilling. I mean, some people will say, well, they're fracking when all they're doing is drilling a well.
Right, but I think the big concern is the water use and the pressurization, the chemicals used, the water, salt water, fresh water, whatever it is. And I think that's kind of what we're all talking about.
And by whatever name it goes by.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just don't want to kind of get locked into, well, it's not fracking, so it must be conventional drilling with no pressure, no chemicals, and no water. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what we're asking about?
I mean, those,
Okay.
well, those are, Susan, you just tossed out a lot of different terms.
Oh, I did, yeah, I know.
Any other questions from board members?
Got a question?
Normally you have to do a speaker card, so if this is the only other question from this, without a card, I'll go ahead and let her go.
Without what?
You have to do a speaker card to have questions, so if you're the only one, we'll go ahead and let you.
Just one question? Or maybe one comment?
Yeah, they're gonna let.
There's a Halliburton law that's been passed federally that indicates that there needs to be no oversight when you get a permit for a well.
Absolutely false.
Anything you want in there, the county does not come in, the city does not come in, and you are on your own.
Absolutely false.
Well,
Absolutely false. Ma'am, I really encourage you to go to the Division of Oil and Gas and Geothermal Resources website. You can look up the rules and regulations there. There is extensive oversight of oil and gas drilling at the county level, at the state level, and at the federal level. The Halliburton thing that you referred to is a very specific aspect. I'm not even that familiar with it, and it applies, I think, only to federal lands. California has incredibly robust laws and regulations when it comes to oil and gas.
so who would be an oversight for your project?
The Division of Oil and Gas and Geothermal Resources, the County of Los Angeles, County Fire, US EPA, OSHA, AQMD, Fish and Wildlife. I mean, honestly, the list, there is a long list of regulatory agencies that have oversight over this type of activity.
Thank you. Board, anything else? Not, you guys have your last?
Yeah, I would like to make some announcements. Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate that the public comment period on the notice of preparation and scoping document is started April 27th and it will end May 27th. And so we need those comments in writing. So people can email me, they can mail it to me, they can fax it to me. I left out business cards out there, up there by the table. So grab one and you have all my information.
So what you mean to say is that anything that's said at the scoping meeting, is that?
No, so the scoping meeting is a venue where people can come and give oral testimony. And so we will take those oral testimonies and consider it as public comments. So, you know, we will be recording it, we'll transcribe it, and we'll make sure that those comments are we made sure to revise all of the documents that are out there with the correct phone number, but it has the correct email address, so all is good. Also, I left out the business cards.
And the NMP or the swimming document over there.
Okay, thank you. And I think that's about it. The scoping meeting will be held here in this exact room. It will be May 20th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m.
Just ask a real quick question, and I think you're in Supervisors. Who did somehow do the big road up?
Sue, I'm so glad you asked me that question. I am so glad you asked me that question. Termo has done no work up there on that road. None. Anyone who says so does not know what they're speaking of. I think I noticed a new freshly paved road, actually. That is on the east side of the field. Termo is way over on the upper west side of the
Yeah, I
field.
know you said you couldn't see it from Porter
Yeah,
Ranch, actually.
yeah. The pipelines, the road, the front gate, none of that has to do with Termo's project. None of it.
So, that might be an interesting thing to get SoCal out here this fall.
Well, SoCal has done a lot of
Let's not play with that.
presentations.
Let's stay on our topic. Do you guys have anything else from you guys' office, Jarrod?
Just wanted to, real quick, just to add a couple things to the process as well. But, once we go through the scoping meeting, collecting all the thoughts on what they analyze in the environmental impact report. The next step after that is to prepare the report. The next step after that is to send it out to all the reviewing agencies, which includes all of our county departments, all the state agencies, all the regulatory agencies. Everyone's going to get an opportunity to comment on the environmental impact report. At that point, once we start getting the comments coming in, it's going to be released out to the public. We're going to get public comment at that time. At that time, we're going to hold what's called a hearing examiner. The hearing examiners, when we bring out a hearing examiner from our department to come out here to take in any questions about the environmental impact report itself. At that point, the consultant will have to prepare a response to comments for each of those questions, and all the materials will be prepared for the decision makers to understand what's going on with the project. Okay? Just want to kind of make sure there's a full circle of what's going on.
And so you guys go.
Yes. I wanted to talk about the notifications that we send to the residents. We are required to send notifications to property owners within a 1,000-foot radius of the project site. So a lot of the Porter Ranch residences aren't captured in that, data collection. And so it's very important that people add their names and their addresses to the courtesy list. Matt, you gave me a whole list of people who signed a petition, but it didn't have their addresses, and we mail out the notifications. And so if you want to gather up, those mailing addresses, I can put that into my courtesy list. And so people will definitely get the notices for the review, which will be coming next.
The website, the direct web address for all the documents, what would be the best way to get that? So that instead of having to do a list, you could just email it to everybody or, put it, I think you have it linked.
We have it linked, yes.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. So you got emails, not mailing addresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, I couldn't read their handwriting.
Us too.
So, it'll be best if they can email me with their mailing address.
We'll send that out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. What's the turnaround time from now, these hearings, gathering up all the questions and issues on the E.I.R. to the point where the actual decision is made? How many
Yeah.
months or weeks or year is it?
I would say it varies depending on the project and how efficient we are when it comes to preparing and making the revisions.
stakeholders group. Supervisor Antonovich is a strong believer in allowing the process to work itself out. And after the various conversations and discussions between Termo and the Department of Regional Planning, the consensus was to move forward with an E.I.R. And based on that, that's the process working itself out. And now we will go through the E.I.R. process, which is a very specific process as dictated by CEQA and state law. And we look forward to receiving the public input. Our office is welcome. You can use our office and my contact information as well as to offer input, and I can forward that to regional planning as well to be included in the documentation. Thank you.
Thank you. David? Jess, do you have anything from Kathleen about this?
Yeah, I mean, really, this is mostly a county issue, but Senator Papa's office, we will be tracking this throughout the whole process. So that's all.
And then, while we're running the conversation, Lori came up, this will be the last comment card that we take, and then we'll move on.
I just had a really quick question because I know you wanted us to submit our name and address to you. I know a lot of residents that are not comfortable with that. So,
Are you speaking to me, Lori, or to the county?
I'm sorry, to Iris.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry. So is there another way that somebody can submit their concerns without publicly, giving out their information to you?
You can certainly take it from email. You know, they can set up an email account that doesn't have their name attached to it. You can send it to Iris's email, public document, public record, anything in writing can go through an email, can go through mail correspondence. You know, as far as us keeping notification, it generally goes out through our mailing system.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
we can certainly, if the email list isn't too long, we can certainly notify it as well through an email system, and we'll really have so many resources for that type of structure. As far as if they want just to keep their names off it, just give us their mailing address, we can go with that too.
Okay, the other question with that is, will their information, my information, any of our information, be anywhere on the E.I.R. or in any other document that is related to this entire process?
Let's say if you submit a public comment during the draft E.I.R. process, we will have to respond to your comments, and your letter and our response will be included in the final E.I.R. So yes, your information, if you put it on there, will be a part of, will be public.
Will it include your address or just your name?
Depending on what you put on your comment letter.
Okay, so it's limited to what we put on the comment card,
Yes.
that's what will be shown publicly.
Yes.
I'm not gonna write your address on the letter.
Perfect, thank you. That was my question.
Okay, so this will be the last comment, and then we're going to move on, and just thank you guys so much for the time. And certainly, y'all for your willingness to come before the board and answer questions and statements.
So I want to direct this to Matt, State Porter Ranch. This is Facebook traffic that I've been monitoring on my Facebook page as well as what's on stateporterranch.com. It says the PRNC is having their monthly meeting tomorrow, May 6th, 6 p.m. at Porter Ranch School. Details are here. Termo, the oil company that wants to drill more oil wells here, is doing some kind of presentation at the meeting about the E.I.R. process. This is similar to the criminal defendant telling us what we should know about how the legal system will handle prosecution. Do the PRNC really think this through? If anybody should be telling us about this, it should be the LA County Regional Planning, not Termo. What is PRNC up to? LA County runs the E.I.R., not Termo. Regarding tomorrow's meeting that we were stuck with, a couple months ago, Starbucks made a presentation at the PRNC meeting regarding their liquor license. Residents were able to ask questions and get answers directly from Starbucks during the presentation. That is what we must ask the PRNC to do for Wednesday's meeting. See below. As you may recall, when Termo presented on August 2014, the PRNC gathered your questions and they asked the questions after determining by whatever criteria that your questions were valid. That is unacceptable. If Starbucks is able to answer questions about liquor license, that's certainly too much to answer questions directly about our health, safety, fire dangers, traffic, trucks, toxins, and all the rest. Everybody call and email the PRNC and tell them we want to deal with that. To question Termo directly, just like we were able to question Starbucks. So,
Thank you for doing so.
thank you, and I would hope my hope would be that you would work with us as a partner and not sort of utilize our mouthpiece as yours. Because I think what you found tonight was very different than what you wrote about it.
The only reason is the county people were not on the agenda. We had no idea they're going to be here. Neither did the rest of the residents of Porter Ranch.
I
Hence,
still feel like my name's been drawn through the mud. I'd appreciate a correction on your Facebook page and on your website
I'll state what happened, that it was not on the agenda. Yes, I will.
But you won't state what happens in the beginning of it itself.
Oh, no, I'm going to post this video and tell everybody, great.
Thank you. Appreciate very much you guys being here. Appreciate all the questions and just trying to get our questions all answered, which obviously is our goal. Next motion, do you want to do 18? John Stewart?
We will do motion 18. This is a motion to draft a letter in support of Los Angeles Unified School District to
Now? Okay, so I have a request that the PRMC have a meeting and invite parties with opposing viewpoints to what Termo proposes. April last year, there was a Termo and Food and Water Watch together meeting that you guys did. That was great. But ever since then, 2 times now, it's been, the only presenter has been Termo and the county, so it kind of makes the county kind of neutral. So it makes it look like PRNC keeps inviting only one side. So I request that you invite other interested parties such as, say, Porter Ranch, Food and Water Watch, Sierra Club, whoever else, and have them speak on this project. And this is like the 3rd request. This is my 2nd request. And Food and Water Watch was rejected after they were scheduled in the August meeting last year. So there have been several requests to have a different viewpoint, and so far there's been none. So it's kind of looking one-sided and it's a bit concerning.
Yeah. Not that I'm part of those things, statement, and we'll go ahead and close. Our position is that Termo is the petitioner. It's you are on one side, but there's a whole group of people which we hear from as well, of people who are pro-oil wells and pro-drilling. So the meeting would not be against Termo, the meeting would be against a community organization like yours and a community organization like theirs. That's what the meeting would be. They're the petitioner asking for permission to do something. So your questions are directed at them. So it's not the same thing. The meeting, to have both sides, would be pro-drilling community organizations and anti-drilling community organizations. That would be the meeting. And then you would have other organizations like Termo that we've announced your meetings, we've let people know about your meetings, but we will take it under advisement and we'll look at that.
Great.
Thank you.
Can you put our meetings on your website?
The Department of Empowerment has said we are not supposed to put any community organizations like that on our website. We've actually asked.
Okay.
You usually have stuff on the right side, different events going on.
They are city meetings.
Okay.
Those are city-sponsored meetings. We actually asked a while back if we could do that, and we were told it's not advisable.
Okay. Thank you for asking.
You never let me give a government report.
Oh, okay. We will now split the government report. What else? No. Julie, you want to?
I was going to bring up a couple of things. I know.
Please do, and then please, we're good.
Okay. There were three.
And I need to ask you, should that governmental stuff you want to update us on? Okay.
Yeah. There was 3 important county updates I did want to give in there for council that I think have a direct or indirect impact on Porter Ranch. The first, back in January, the Board of Supervisors approved an update on its county general plan, which was a significant endeavor that's taken about 10 years to do. Part of that general plan update, while it doesn't impact the city portion of Porter Ranch, part of that update did include something called the Santa Susana Trails Master Plan, and that is a county project. The Santa Susana Trails Master Plan is a vision that tries to coordinate the county trail system and city trail system, and as well as state and federal trails. It's so you can have a seamless hike or a seamless horse ride from the Ventura County line through unincorporated Plattsburgh, Aliso Canyon, Porter Ranch, and Corona Hills, into Santa Clarita and other areas of Los Angeles County. So it's a great vision that Supervisor Tonovich has had that we were happy to get in place on the master to you and other stakeholders. People are very surprised. They're starting to see sheriff's deputies go down to Penny Canyon, DeSoto, and Mason a little bit more frequently to hit our unincorporated areas, all the way from Penny Canyon to Twin Lakes and Browns Canyon. Sheriff's Department can pull you over just as easily as LAPD can on Penny and on Mason. We've already started receiving phone calls saying, why is the Sheriff's Department empowered to pull us over in the city of LA? They always have it. Law allows it to happen. So I'm kind of sure you will see an increase present in the LA County Sheriff's Department along the main arterials, linking the north and south valleys.
Can I ask you a question, Jared?
Shoot.
My house backs up to Browns Canyon.
Yes.
There's a homeless encampment. Are you familiar with Browns Canyon?
Very familiar with Browns
Okay,
Canyon.
so past the sign, apparently the sign that says this is a private road is the city line by that first ranch.
Okay.
Okay. There's a homeless encampment back there. I went on a radio call with a black and white that was LAPD radio call, and we didn't go all the way up to the canyon. But there's a homeless encampment up there. We've had some burglaries in my neighborhood, some car break-ins. And so it would be nice if the deputies are going up into Browns Canyon to look at, it's called Browns Canyon Park or something. It's on the east side of the canyon, just past those ranches.
All right. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
About 2 miles in.
Do me a favor, email me or give me a call tomorrow.
And I'll have to slow the slow for our area, the LAPD slow. I'll give her the information too because she's been working on the same kind of project.
And I'll send it over to the sergeant that's overseeing the unincorporated
Okay,
areas.
perfect. Perfect. Thank you very
But
much.
I'm glad you brought that up because in that near that area that you're talking about, this is my last and final update. This is a very close proximity to Florida Ranch. Is the county is right now in the escrow process of purchasing a ranch on Browns Canyon Road called the Green Property. The Green Property is on Browns Canyon Road. It's a 73 acre parcel. And what the vision is for the county to do, this is a piece of property that's been for sale for quite some time off Browns Canyon. And the county, our vision for the county on this purchase is to convert it into an equestrian staging area. And well, the equestrians across the valley have always commented to us that in the county areas, they don't really have an area that they can stage, park, unload horses, and take advantage of the trail systems that we do have. This piece of property off Browns Canyon is in perfect location and is in direct connectivity to along the trail system. It's also immediately adjacent to the Hidden Creeks project. So Hidden Creeks will actually come up right up on the county property. And our project is not, and the developers are very well aware of this, we've said our park does not release you from any of the obligations that the city of LA has placed on you. And, but that being said, we've directed county staff to work with city staff and the developer to take advantage of the trails that that project is going to provide to make sure it has access to our property so that hikers and equestrians can be able to use it. But it's very, so the area you're talking about on Browns Canyon might be that property, so I really want to get that checked out.
Okay, and for another time, the road didn't need to be, because Hidden Creek's going to go down Mason. Browns Canyon is terrible, as you know.
Very terrible.
Okay.
It's a private road too, so I gotta find a way to rebuild it without making it a public road.
Okay.
I have a quick question regarding the homeless encampment. Is that before or after the bar gate? There's a yellow bar gate, isn't there, on Browns Canyon?
Yeah, it's after.
It's after the bar
There's a
gate?
sign that says private road, there's a ranch. And we're digressing. I'll talk to you afterwards.
Yeah, because that's a concern.
Yeah, okay, I'll talk to you afterwards. Because everybody wants to go home.
Oh, sorry.
They're having sandwiches.
Since you're here, what's the status of incorporation? Does the city want to?
The property itself is still county unincorporated. I don't know the specific timeline of the completion of the project of when it will be annexed to the city. I think it's spelled out within the conditions of approval for the project of when exactly that project is going to be annexed into the city. But currently, that property is still LA County. But when they start building, it's going to be overseen by the city.
Good question.
Will it still get county money?
I don't understand. Thank you.
If it's annexed into the city, are you talking about the?
When it's annexed into the city, it'll be city services will completely provide all services.
And they signed off on it, or they would sign off on it?
It's part of the conditions of being annexed into the city. You lose all county services. That will provide all that.
My point is the park will be protected.
The park is actually will remain county unincorporated.
Susanna Trail plan that you talked about mesh with the rim of the valley plans?
That's a really good question, and I'm actually I need to study that a little bit more, and I'm trying to learn that. Our county staff, our county parks and recreation staff, has been in discussions and meeting with the federal government to discuss what the rim of the valley does to our trails master plan, because they do overlap. They overlap very significantly, actually. And what we've been told